You're watching Bermuda Tonight. It's Thursday, the 1st of November. I'm Jasmine Patterson, and thanks for joining us. Firefighters were battling a blaze at a house on Scotts Hill Road in Sands just before airtime tonight. The call came in at 5:25 p.m., alerting authorities of what we understand to be a structural fire in the residential neighborhood. The Bermuda Fire and Rescue Services responded with 2 engines, and firefighters remain on the scene fighting the blaze. Alarmingly, though, officials have indicated that 1 person known to the residents is at this time unaccounted for. We will keep you up to date as information becomes available. And as we reported he would be, Curtis Dickinson is the new Minister of Finance, with Zane De Silva returning to the cabinet as Minister of Tourism and Transport. Former Minister of Social Development and Sport Michael Weeks has now been placed on the backbench. These are just some of the changes to the cabinet as announced by Premier David Burt today. He outlined a number of other changes which sees some ministers having additional work and others reduce or altered responsibilities.
With these additions to Cabinet, I have taken the opportunity to realign some departments to better fit with the policy aims and objectives of the government. These include the Department of National Drug Control and the Department of Child and Family Services will move to the Ministry of Legal Affairs. Minister Levita Fogo will now be responsible for labor and workforce development in the Ministry of Labor, Community Affairs, and Sport. The Department of Energy joins the Ministry of Home Affairs under Minister Walter Aban, while the Department of Financial Assistance moves to the Ministry of Health. The Department of Immigration will now come under the Minister of National Security, while responsibility for ICT policy and innovation and information and digital technologies moves to the Office of the Premier within the Cabinet Office. Minister Walton Brown now assumes responsibility as the Minister for the Cabinet Office. To reflect the importance of communication, consultation, and public engagement in governance in this modern era, I have invited Minister Jamal Simmons to focus on these matters as Minister without portfolio. Minister Diallo Rabane will retain responsibility for education as he focuses on the important task of education reform, while Minister David Birch will continue as Minister of Public Works and the ministry's configuration will not change. Prior to this change, there were 11 ministries within the government, and with this reconfiguration, there will now be 10 ministries. One final change of note, as there is a constitutional limit on the amount of ministers and junior ministers that can be appointed from the House of Assembly, Junior Minister Tanae Ferbert will continue to advocate for the disabled, but will not have the title of Junior Minister.
Wayne Ferbert has, however, been retained as Junior Minister of Finance. Premier Burt praised Mr. Ferbert for his past service and stated the veteran MP will aid in the transition to the new Minister of Finance and also with the preparation of the 2019-2020 budget. And Gary Moreno, who broke the story on today's cabinet shuffle, spoke with the Premier and a number of his cabinet members about the changes announced today. More in this report.
Perhaps the biggest shock in all this is the removal of the portfolio of social development and sport from Michael Weeks, the most popular member of the PLP government, based on his receipt of the highest number of votes ever in terms of general elections in this country. The Premier explained the thinking behind that decision.
It's a question of we're looking at it. The Ministry of Social Development and Sports, in its current structure, wasn't working, and we felt that there was a need to realign those particular departments to ensure that they could be better able to deliver in what was taking place. So that was a part of it. I spoke to Michael yesterday. Michael is a family member of mine, so without question, it's a difficult decision. But Michael has participated before. He has added value, and we will find a way to ensure that he continues to add value with this government.
Another interesting turn of events was the return of Zane De Silva as Minister of Transport and Tourism after his sudden resignation from the cabinet in January on the basis of what he called then a principled stance.
The fact is that Zane and I had a conversation, and there are certain skills and energies that Zane brings to that particular portfolio. And so from that perspective, when I was judging, I felt that would be the best fit.
As for Mr. De Silva's take on this turnaround,
that is a process that we went through at that particular time. But now I'm focused. I'm ready to serve. Even though I resigned earlier this year, I didn't stop working for the Premier. I didn't stop working for my cabinet colleagues or my caucus colleagues. I never stopped working, or for the party, or for the people of the country, because that's why I'm an MP.
Mr. De Silva expressing confidence he will bring a new energy and vigor to the new responsibilities. He, of course, takes over tourism from Jamal Simmons, who is now a minister without portfolio. A situation some are already calling a demotion.
Well, I think that people know what my skill set is, and I'm very good at it. And so with the issue of communications and getting the government's message out, you'll see an improvement there.
The transport aspect of Mr. De Silva's ministry was previously the domain of Deputy Premier Walter Raban. So what are his feelings on the change?
Well, the Premier made a decision, but I am still a member of the Cabinet. I now will be under Home Affairs with some changes to that ministry, because immigration will be going to another minister, and some other labor will also go to another minister. So I will be Home Affairs Minister. I will still have energy, and I'll still have regulatory affairs.
Another minister whose portfolio has been altered is National Security Minister Wayne Keynes, who is now also responsible for the thorny issue of immigration.
I do believe that being an agent of change, the Premier has brought me into the ministry to look at things, to make sure that work permits get processed faster, to make sure that we look at immigration in a 360 approach. And so I think this is an excellent opportunity for us just to make immigration better all the way around to Bermuda.
Elsewhere, Levita Fogo, with a newly appointed minister responsible for labour and workforce development in the Ministry of Labour, Community Affairs and Sport. She has indicated she wants to get a handle on matters pertaining to her new role before commenting on this change. These changes came just 1 week after the recent annual PLP Delegates Conference. We asked Premier Burt if this was by design.
Why weren't these announcements made prior to the Delegates Conference?
The time for these announcements is today, and we've decided on the most cleanest of circumstances to make them at the beginning of the month, so that the office in the new Minister of Finance's payroll department doesn't have to process anything that is abnormal.
Political masterstroke?
Gary Moreno, reporting for the Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Thanks, Gary. We'll have more for you after this short break, including all the latest weather news. Stay with us.
What do you really want, Bermuda, when you're shopping online and getting your online orders from there to here? You want fast service, you want ultra-friendly staff, and you want the lowest possible price. With over 16,000 members using Mailboxes Unlimited U.S. Express service, we are the least expensive on the island by far. 80% cheaper than the couriers. We'll get your packages from there to here fast. That was easy.
Sign up for a U.S. Express account today.
That was easy.
You can count on us.
Save $1.70 on value pack fresh Purdue chicken thighs with drumsticks, only $1.99 per pound. Butternut, acorn, or spaghetti squash, just $1.99 per pound. Only 99 cents for select varieties of 6-ounce Yoplait yogurt. Juicy savings of $1.16 on ShopRite apple juice. $3.19 for a 64-ounce bottle. Charmin Ultra Strong or soft toilet tissue. $5.19 for a 4-pack roll. Visit our website at www.marketplace.bm for more exciting flyer specials.
You can count on us.
From the very beginning, it was always our singular focus to do whatever it takes, use every possible resource to fight cancer, and never lose sight of the patients we're fighting for. Our cancer treatment specialists share the same vision. Experts from all over the world working closely together to deliver truly personalized cancer care. And these are the specialists we're proud to call our own. Expert medicine works here. Learn more at cancercenter.com. Appointments available now.
And thanks for staying with us. A fundamental shakeup of the cabinet, complete with some demotions, is how the opposition leader Craig Cannonier views the Premier's cabinet changes. Speaking to Mike Sharp by phone, Mr. Cannonier gave this initial reaction.
And certainly I don't know if the Premier felt that he was not getting the output that he was looking for, but this is, to me, it looks like a very fundamental shakeup of his cabinet. I would say that I'm happy to see that Curtis Dixon is taking over the Ministry of Finance. I believe that this is a good thing to see happening. Maybe we can now get back on track as to balancing the budget as to what Bermudians are waiting for to happen. So outside of that, there appears to be some very significant emotions as well. But at the end of the day, this is his decision.
Are you surprised to see Zay and De Silva back in the mix?
I certainly am. I'm very surprised to see him back after he obviously resigned over Cabinet Row with his friend Dr. Brown. I was quite surprised. I mean, the Premier had 24 other MPs that he can choose from, and with the existing cabinet members that he does have, that means that he's got 13 others that he could have chosen from to mix things up a bit. So I am quite surprised to see that he's back.
And Opposition Leader Craig Cannonier speaking there with our Mike Sharp. The government has identified the nursery that had care of that infant boy who received a serious head injury as the Heavenly Blessings Nursery and Preschool on Glebe Road in Pembroke. You'll recall government shutting down the centre earlier this week after the 12-month-old had to be flown overseas for emergency treatment. The government decided to take action out of an abundance of caution while police investigate whether or not the injury took place at the nursery. Try Trott has the details.
There was no sign of activity today at the Heavenly Blessings Nursery and Preschool located on Glebe Road in Pembroke, where normally around 29 children spend their day. The sign for the daycare removed after the government ordered them to close down immediately out of an abundance of caution while police look into the circumstances of how that infant boy received a serious head injury. It's not clear whether or not he received the injury while in the care of the facility. The minister responsible had noted the parents of the youngster noticed he was not behaving like he normally would when they collected him last Friday.
The government's position is with respect to the care of our children.
Minister of Health Kim Wilson, addressing the matter at a news conference at the AB Place Media Room, named the business but was only able to provide limited information.
Regarding this particular case, the Children's Act of 1998 does authorize the Minister for Social Development and Sport to inform the public of an order in such a manner as he considers appropriate. This was done through Tuesday's press conference. However, this same piece of legislation does prohibit disclosure of information where there is an active police investigation. Consequently, there will be no details discussed at this time.
Alarmed by the boy's injury, the minister revealing additional steps government will be taking to further protect young children in care facilities.
1. We developed and published the child care standards for daycare providers and centers last year, November, and we updated these standards in June of 2018. In September of this year, the Cabinet recently approved amendments to the Children's Act of 1998, which will include the creation of a new Child Care Act.
Additionally, government will be establishing policies that would create an interagency team that would review daycare concerns and facilitate interventions, learning and improvements where required.
Parents need to be able to go to work and know and trust that the persons that are watching their children and caring for them will ensure their safety and promote their optimal, healthy development.
Minister Wilson expressing her sincere thoughts for the family of the infant.
Our prayers and thoughts remain with them.
Elsewhere, the minister asked to respond to the view that the government may have acted too quickly when the facts had not yet been determined by the investigation.
Well, the minister responsible for social development and sport does have within his remit under the Children's Act 1998 provisions in certain circumstances to close a facility. He exercised that power pursuant to the legislation, pursuant to his powers as the minister responsible.
Tarai Trott reporting for Bermuda Broadcasting News.
Former Minister of Social Development Michael Weeks had stated the nursery in question had a few previous incidents on its record. Meanwhile, the condition of the infant was not clear as of last check. A government transport officer admitted to child exploitation offenses during today's Supreme Court arraignment session. Road Safety Council officer and former operator of Project Ride, David Miners, pleaded guilty during this morning's arraignment session in the Supreme Court to 2 counts of showing explicit material to a child, namely a photo and a video, and sexually exploiting a boy while in a position of trust. The offenses took place on March 27th this year. The 43-year-old Sandman, however, denies sexual exploitation, communicating with the child for sexual purpose, and showing pornography to the child between March 26 and July 14th this year. He's represented by lawyer Elizabeth Christopher. Justice Charles Etta Simmons bailed the man and ordered psychiatric reports. His next court appearance is expected on January 8th, when a trial date is due to be set. Elsewhere, Cleveland Rogers denied the premeditated murder of Trinidadian national Marcus Sheldon Gibbings, which took place on the 25th of October, 2006. Mr. Gibbings died of multiple stab wounds he sustained while in his Devonshire residence. The 51-year-old defendant is represented by Mark Daniels, and he is due to reappear in court on November 14th. A 24-year-old Pembroke man, Jafari Rayner, pleaded not guilty to unlawfully wounding a woman on August 5th this year. A trial date was set for January 21st. And two men accused of multiple counts of accessing child pornography appeared today but did not enter pleas. A 40-year-old guest worker who resides in Warwick is expected to be charged with 8 offenses to have occurred between February 2014 and December 2017. His matter is set for mention on November 14th, while a 69-year-old Pembroke man is due to be charged with 2 counts of accessing child pornography. Neither men can be identified for legal reasons. Kellyanne Damasio, who is accused of death by dangerous driving, also did not enter a plea today. Her case was rolled over to the next arraignment session on December 3rd. Weather now in a mix of sun and cloud today. Temperatures are starting to drop slightly as we move further into fall. Let's see how our weekend is shaping up weather-wise over at the AccuWeather headquarters.
AccuWeather is presented by BF&M Insurance Group. We now go to AccuWeather headquarters.
The BF&M Insurance Group is pleased to bring you tonight's AccuWeather forecast. I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Brittany Boyer, and hopefully you've had a great week. Pretty decent weather. We started the week off with some rough conditions out on the water, as we did have a hurricane moving away from us. That's completely gone at this point. No issue for us. And what we have tonight and what we're going to have over the next couple of days is a nice dominant area of high pressure, which we associate with good weather. So if you're here for vacation right now, really can't complain about conditions here. High pressure's in control, couple of patchy clouds around the island. Otherwise, we are looking a-okay for this Thursday evening. Temperatures are sitting in the low 70s here across the island. Humidity right around 50%. The winds are very light, really nearly calm at this point. The water's at 77 degrees. If earlier this week you couldn't get out there due to the rough conditions and the large swells, we continue to see the waves decreasing. Right now inside the reef right around a foot, outside of the reef anywhere from 3 to 5 feet. So overnight tonight we will have increasing clouds. Temperatures bottoming out right around 70 degrees for this Thursday evening. We've had a couple of small craft warnings this week. No issues, no areas of concern that I have to tell you about out here in the Atlantic. So our tidal times right over here, low tide coming in just before 10:30 tonight, and our high tide coming in we'll say slightly after 4:30 on your Friday morning. So let's get into the forecast here for our Friday. Clouds and sunshine. Overall, it should be a nice day. Temperatures seasonal. We're typically sitting right around 76, 77 for our daytime highs. So overall temperatures are remaining nice and pleasant, and our weather remaining nice and pleasant here. Again, we have this big area of high pressure, and that's going to keep things very quiet. And really the next thing that we're going to be tracking is this cold front. But at this point, it looks like this frontal boundary is essentially going to stall just off to our north. So what that means is, as we head into the next couple of days, we continue to get the wind flow coming in out of the south and east, and that is going to usher in some milder temperatures. Hey, as we head into the weekend, heads up, it's time to fall back. Yes, daylight saving time will be ending on November 4th at 2 a.m. So before you go to bed on Saturday night, it's a good time to change the clocks back 1 hour, and also a good time to change any batteries and smoke alarms or smoke detectors that you have at your house. So remember that for Saturday night and as you head into your Sunday. Looking at conditions here in Jamaica, Barbados, and Trinidad, overall not too bad. We've got temperatures in the upper 80s and just a couple of spotty showers out there. No tropical development that we are concerned about, at least at this point. If you're doing any traveling heading back home, we do have some showers in store for the east coast of the U.S. as we head into Friday. But for us, tranquil weather, temperatures remaining very nice in the upper 70s, and it looks like a great weekend here in Bermuda.
AccuWeather was presented by BF&M Insurance Group.
It's hurricane season. Here are some tips from BF&M. Before a storm, make sure you have a family plan. Stock up on food and water and protect your home. Board up and make sure your insurance policies are up to date. After a storm, check everyone's safety, especially seniors. Inspect your property and secure from further damage. Then note the damages, list, and take photos. Remember, you can always count on BF&M 24/7 during hurricane season and all year round.
At ProServe, we've got mail. Did you know at ProServe, we handle over 150,000 mail pieces per month. We have a full mail handler's license, secure, centrally located facilities, state-of-the-art digital printing, insertion, franking, and tracking systems. Even full mailroom operations management, along with experienced staff and the reliability to get your job done right. So whether the job is large or small, by hand or sprint pickup delivery, daily, weekly, monthly, or a one-off project, we've got you covered from start to finish with email confirmation. At ProServe, we've got mail. Call 295-7619 or visit proserve.bm and let's get it started.
It is time to fall back, Bermuda. Daylight savings time comes to an end this weekend, so before you head off to bed on Saturday, be sure to set your clocks and your watches back by 1 hour. The official time change is Sunday morning at 2 a.m. So think of the seasons and fall back. The sun sets earlier, sure, but you get an extra hour of sleep. So this Saturday, wind those watches and clocks back. Just a friendly reminder brought to you by Bermuda Broadcasting.
I'm Michaela, and this is Taking Off. Skyport, Aecon, and Bermuda Airport Authority, or BAA, teamed up to host a charity golf day in October. 120 golfers came together to raise money for Mirrors and Big Brothers Big Sisters of Bermuda here at Tuckers Point Golf Club. And thanks to all of our partners and sponsors, we were able to raise more than $30,000 in total for charity. Mirrors and Big Brother Big Sisters were chosen for their direct impact on young people's lives in Bermuda. They both fall within our goal to support education and development of our young people by investing in schools and programs. Mirrors Program Coordinator Kimberly Jackson and Patrina O'Connor Painter, Managing Director of Big Brother Big Sisters, attended the event and spoke to the players about their respective programs. 30 teams participated in the event with players from various companies in Bermuda and overseas. Many of the companies and sponsors are subcontractors working on the airport redevelopment project. It was a great day raising money for two wonderful charities. See you next time.
The kids may still be gorging on Halloween candy, but it was all about the festive season at the marketplace today as the Lions Clubs of Bermuda launched their 2018 campaign to provide food for families in need at Christmas. And as always, the campaign starts with a song.
Oh, you better watch out. You better not cry. You better not pout. I'm telling you why. Santa Claus is coming to town. He sees you when you're sleeping. He knows when you're awake. He knows if you're been bad or good, so we come for goodness sake.
We are celebrating the continuance of the Share the Christmas Spirit campaign, a 30-year partnership between the Lions Clubs of Bermuda and the marketplace stores. The Share the Christmas Spirit campaign has, over the past 5 years, produced a total of 3,163 food hampers, which have been distributed to families in need throughout the island at Christmas time.
Strike the harp and join the chorus.
We once again reach out to the Bermuda community for donations of non-perishable goods by placing them in the decorated bins located at all marketplace stores.
And further donations can be made at the Share the Christmas Spirit Tag Day on Saturday, the 24th of November at all marketplace stores. Still to come, Earl Basin will have all the latest sports news in just a few minutes.
Hey, Smokey, let's get lunch from the Marketplace food court.
You know what? That sounds good.
They have oxtails, pumpkin, curried lamb, lemon chicken, sweet and sour ribs, vegetable stir fry, and the variety goes on.
Their chefs are good. They'll set you right up with all the good carvings.
And don't forget the special dishes from the island.
It don't matter. No matter what you feel like eating, Marketplace will have it.
You know, it's quick, it's quality, and at prices you can count on.
Visit us 7 days a week. Breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Made for you daily at the Hamilton Marketplace Food Court.
Sport now, and a three-time World Cup referee reflects on his best games. The countdown to the World Rugby Classic is well underway, and Bermuda's two professional squash players see action in Canada. Earl Basin has these stories and more in tonight's Sports Report.
Israeli referee Abraham Klein had the distinct opportunity to referee in 3 World Cup matches, with the first one being in 1970.
It was in Guadalajara in Mexico. And the first game, it was between England, the world champion for 1966, against Brazil, who were the best team ever in the history of the game. And we remember the team of England, Bobby Moore, Bobby Charlton, Gordon Banks, Jeff Hurst, and from the other side, Pelé, Jorginho, Tostão, Carlos Alberto, Felix, Wonder team. And I enjoyed very much. It was my first officiating. And I was very happy that FIFA liked my game. And then second tournament was in 78. Because 74, you know what happened in Munich with the Israel athletes. So they left me out from the list, which was, I understand why. But in 78 I come back, and then I refereed, I think, one of the difficult games in the history between Argentina and Italy. And the game was in Buenos Aires because this was the only one game when Argentina lost. And then I refereed the second game between West Germany and Austria, when Austria beat West Germany for the first time in the history. They never beat them. And they celebrate every year, the Austrian Federation. And then I refereed the third, fourth place between Italy and Brazil. People say I was supposed to referee the final, but Videla thinks different than me.
As you could see here at the National Sports Center, the final touches are being put on preparations for the 2018 edition of the World Rugby Classic. President of the Classic, John Kane, is looking forward to this year's event.
30 years doing it, and it didn't start off like this, but it's developed into this, and it brings a lot of visitors into Bermuda. It's a big business week in Bermuda, and it's a great social week in Bermuda, so the whole combination just makes it work nicely.
What could one who plans to come here over the next week expect?
Well, I think you'll see some good rugby. You'll certainly hear some good music. There'll be some good socialising. And hopefully the weather behaves for once. And Oscar was on his way here, but I went down to the South Shore and shouted at it, so it turned north very rapidly. What we do advise people, what we're trying to do this year, we're bringing the players down as needed by bus. So there's no bikes, they don't bring their bikes down here. We're trying to do a shuttle out of Hamilton during the week from Monday, Wednesday and Thursday to bring people up here, all with the aim of saying to people, look, leave your bikes behind, come down here and have a good time, and don't get on your bikes and don't get in your car and go off drinking and driving, because if you do, my one piece of advice is have $1,500 in the back of your pocket.
Shaquille Bean is now eligible to play again for the Somerset Trojans after serving a 4-match ban handed down by the Bermuda Football Association's disciplinary committee. You would recall during a Dudley Eve match at the PHC Stadium on September 3rd, with the Somerset Trojans down 2-0 to the Devonshire Cougars, goalkeeper Bean was sent off for using offensive, insulting, or abusive language or gesture-like gestures to the crowd behind the goal. Somerset Cricket Club officials have confirmed that Bean was handed a 4-match ban for the incident and is now eligible to resume playing for the West End club, who are presently bottom of the Premier Division. Bermuda's two professional squash players, Noah Brown and Micah Franklin, began taking part in the $11,000 men's first block capital Jericho Open squash tournament in Vancouver, Canada. In their first round matches, both advanced. Brown needed 5 games to come from behind to defeat Zafaraz Ahmad from Canada 7-11, 11-1, 9-11, 11-3, 11-4. Franklin would advance, defeating Matt Reese from Australia 11-2, 11-7, 11-3. I'm Earl Baisden with Bermuda Broadcasting Sports.
And that's our program for this evening. We hope you've enjoyed the show. I'm Jasmine Patterson. Good night.
Jasmine Patterson's wardrobe and makeup is provided by Gibbons Company.